Dan and Amy, and this year we are proud to be partnering again with Food for the Poor to help raise money to provide food and water for children and families in Haiti. Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. This is the 10th year we've done a Christmas campaign like this at AM 560 to give back and provide a channel for you to give back. And this is the third year we've done with this kind of campaign with Food for the Poor because they're a reputable organization that we trust to deliver maximum value for your generosity to people that are truly in need. And Amy, why don't you introduce our friends from Food for the Poor who are here to tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we have Paul Jacobs who's here and Todd Chapman. And Todd, I had the pleasure of going with you to Haiti in 2017, and I still keep that trip near and dear to my heart. If things ever go wrong, I always think, you know what, there are people who have it worse, and they're in Haiti. But thanks to Food for the Poor, you've given them hope, you've given them water, you've given them food, and you've given them a chance at life.
Well, correction on that. It's the AM 560 listeners that have actually done that. Food for the Poor is just kind of the vehicle, maybe the pipe, if you will. You're the generosity, and we help your generosity change lives. And so, yeah, great to be back working with you guys again, and we're looking forward to having people from all across Chicagoland change lives in Haiti again.
Were the Haitian people traumatized to see this tall blonde woman wandering the streets at all, or was Amy received well during her time
No, she was
there?
received well, but whenever you go there, I'll never forget the first time I went there. When a white person goes to Haiti, you're called a blanc, okay, right? And so I'll never forget first Haitian slum I'm in. I'm walking through this little kind of rat maze of these little tiny crevices between these in the shanty town, and out in front of me, I hear kids. They would stick their head around the corner, eyes get big, and then they're like, ah! And they jump and they run away, and then in the distance you hear blanc, blanc. Like, so that's what Amy got. She got the
I
blanc.
got a tall
the blanc
blanc.
is coming. Tall blanc, yeah.
There you go.
Grande blanc. But we had an amazing trip. I'm curious though, your perspective now. Even though it's been almost 2 years.
Well, one thing that I was so pleasantly surprised, we went to this village and they had no running water, of course, but they had no clean water to drink because there was one little canal and people would bathe in there. Mm-hmm. They would drink water from there. Animals would defecate in there. Yep. And it was just so strange because within a matter of months and with the donations from our AM 560 listeners, we were able to build houses. And how many houses? Because you went back. And I was so jealous. I wanted to go back with you to see the after.
Well,
because the before was
standing
just
invitation. Dan will even take you.
All right.
Dan
Come on,
needs
man.
to go to
Sure.
Haiti.
You do need to go.
Sure.
You do need to go.
Man.
But how many houses did they?
I think in that community, what was it, Paul? 60?
Yeah, close to that.
60
Yeah.
houses were built. And these are, by the way, and housing is just another thing that Food for the Poor does. Build houses and schools, feeding, water, medical, self-sustainability projects. But these houses are amazing, earthquake-proof, hurricane-proof. They actually have a flushing toilet, locking door. Most Haitians have never had a locking door. They've never had a flushing toilet. And so, even though they're humble homes, not very big, but compared to, what they had before, it's a huge blessing. But what we're asking our AM 560 listeners to do is kind of the tip of the spear for everything Food for the Poor does, and that is we're feeding starving kids, and we're addressing that water need. Because 80% of Haiti, that's about 9 million people, they don't have access to potable drinking water.
Paul, I want to pick up on a word that Todd used, sustainability.
Yes.
People understand what Food for the Poor does in terms of the infrastructure building, the solutionist nature of what you guys do, so people don't have it in their mind like you're just passing out bottles of Aquafina. Right? This is about infrastructure and sustainability.
Absolutely. It's a long-term project. It's a long-term effort. It's interesting, 2 years ago when Amy and the team went to Savan Cabrit, that community that you visited, the community where mothers called the water source the gutter. Now, we have a term when we say the gutter here, and it's the lowest of lows. But this is where people basically obtain water to drink, water to cook with, water to bathe their small children. Now, because of the efforts and the results from Chicagoland listeners to the AM 560 campaign with Food for the Poor, that community has completely transformed. There are families that have been literally upended from their poverty into a place that they could only dream of. Children whose families, who basically in their family rather, didn't eat every single day. And now, because Food for the Poor and AM 560 donors and listeners to this campaign, just in the last couple of years, have transformed that community long-term and self-sustainability. We're talking about families that not only have homes, they have food to eat, they have resources, they have access to clean, safe water. Just think about it. This morning I had a bottle of water right next to my bedside. I left, and I have right next to me the bottle of water that I still have half drunk. If it stays in the car too long, we end up dumping it. We take for granted things like water. But these are families who long-term have a real solution to water. And the amazing part is we have the opportunity now with listeners' help to do that for yet another community in Haiti.
And it's so, I mean, you think about it, 1 in 14 kids in Haiti do not live to see their 5th birthday.
Yeah.
So they're malnourished. They need to get shots, their tetanus shots. I mean, everything that you can imagine. And I remember we went to the Food for the Poor headquarters, and they're lined up to get food and to see a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was just reading some statistics about infant mortality in the developing world overall, but Haiti, being one of the 3 poorest countries in the world, a lot of times, and we've actually met moms, they're holding a little infant, they're at one of our care centers, and you ask, what's your baby's name? And they'll say, haven't named the baby yet. Not uncommon, because they actually don't want to name their infant until it has survived for, maybe 3, 4, 5 months, because they lose so many kids that it's kind of a bit of a protection mechanism, because if you don't name it, maybe the loss isn't so severe. But yeah, it's a level of poverty that, frankly, well, you've seen it. It's kind of mind-bending the first time you see it. I'll never forget the first time I walked into that poverty. And thankfully, every time I go, it still, hits me between the eyes, because the second I stop feeling it as a human being, then I just never want to get to that point. And I guess what I want our AM 560 listeners to know is, number one, thank you if you've participated in past campaigns. You've made a huge difference. But number two, we can't fix everything in the world, but we can make the world a better place for one child, one family. And this is the time of year, I think, when we all think in that direction, and this would be a great way for you to do it.
What are you asking for, like a one-time donation of how much?
Yeah, so an $80 one-time gift of Food for the Poor would provide one starving child in Haiti with 2 meals a day through one of our feeding programs for the next year. So it's food for a year. And then part of every gift of $80 goes to help build one of these permanent water solutions that Paul was talking about. Dan, we're not trucking in water. You're helping to build a water well or a solar-powered water purification unit. They pump out 10,000 gallons of water a day, which services an entire community, and it's going to last 30 or 40 years. So, even if we were saying $80 would provide one of these people with water for life, I think that would be an amazing opportunity. But now you've got the food and the water together. $80, I mean, come on. I just dropped almost $80 on the turkey that we're going to have for Thanksgiving.
Well, you ordered an organic one.
Well, my wife ordered the organic one. I just picked it up.
Well, and I mean too, just like we were talking about, I like that the scope of the challenge. 80% of the population in Haiti lives below the poverty line. 54% in abject poverty.
And we should clarify too, Dan, because when you say poverty line, it's context is everything, right? In the U.S.,
global, right?
Yeah, global poverty line. You're talking $1, $2 a day.
Yeah,
U.S.
right. I mean, so it's staggering, but the idea of, hey, look, it's the starfish parable, one starfish at a time, and our goal, in conjunction with Food for the Poor this year, is 3,000 starfish, food for a year, water for life for 3,000 children in Haiti this year, and that makes a marked difference. The other thing I wanted to just get your take on too, because I think a lot of listeners remember that horrific earthquake that was visited upon Haiti in 2010, and I imagine, although I don't know this to be true, you guys would know, that just makes the job that much more challenging. I doubt that there's been full recovery from what happened 8 years ago.
No, absolutely. There are still communities that have been affected and still been affected. You have you just take the city of Port-au-Prince, the capital city, a city that, for all intents and purposes, should hold maybe, I don't know, let's say 3.5 million maximum. You have over 5 million people living there. Why? Because people have come that have been affected in the areas around where the earthquake hit, and in their communities, their lives have been completely upended, and they've gotten together in the city of Port-au-Prince, in the capital, because that's where all the resources are. So we're moving out in Food for the Poor, and Amy has seen it. We've been doing this for a number of years now, over 30 years with Food for the Poor in Haiti, to go out into these far-reaching communities to make those far-reaching communities better, so that we can help these families and be sustained, and no more of this, basically congregating in the Port-au-Prince capital, where it's just become a hotbed for everything from protests to just everything.
Crime.
Yeah, crime.
Crime,
It's
yeah.
just been overwhelming. And now we can help in the communities you don't see on the news typically when you refer to Haiti, and these communities desperately need our help.
I want to get to your answer to a question that people are often asking. There's a lot of people in need in Chicago Metro. There's a lot of people in need in America. Why should I focus on Haiti this Christmas rather than locally?
That's a great question, because that question is uniquely lies in my own personal story. Raised by a single father, my dad worked 2 jobs. There was times where we went without lights. We had a summer where we had no running water in the house. Our water came from the abandoned house next door, so I could fill the toilet and flush it, or so I could just wash my face in the morning. That's real. That happened to me. That was my personal experience. But if it wasn't for the local ministries, it wasn't for Gardens Baptist Church and Pastor Daryl Orman and the community rallying together to help my father and I through a very tough situation. And I suspect in Chicagoland, even in the south end of Chicago, where, quite frankly, a lot of people sometimes turn a blind eye to, and it's just staggering, the poverty. There are families in these same communities we talk about here in Chicagoland that still have a roof over their head, still have safety nets, still have some type of assistance in some way. In these communities in Haiti, there is no assistance. It's food for the poor, working through your love, your gifts, and your passion to help save families' lives. And I mean that in every literal sense of the way. It is saving families' lives with every gift, with every dollar, with every scoop of food, with every pour and glass of clean, safe water. It is truly changing the trajectory for children and families.
And with respect to the Haitian government and your relationship with the Haitian government, because people, of course, concerned about investing in places where the government's unstable, and so the help doesn't get to those who need it.
Yeah, interesting enough, years ago, Food for the Poor was approached by the government when we first established and said, if you want to ship in and get your resources taken care of and get all these shipments in, and we need part of that. We need you to
Paul
help
bracing.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys are familiar with any of that here in Chicago.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Doesn't happen.
sure,
Anyway.
right. Wet the beak. Yes,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
yes.
We were adamant in our response. We will pull out every bit of our operation if we ever have to succumb to this. And it has never become an issue. Food for the Poor does not have any government entanglements. In matter of fact, they roll out the red carpet because in a meeting with our executive director, the president of Food for the Poor, when he saw himself, the current president of Haiti, when he saw what our executive director and our Food for the Poor operations were doing in Haiti, made a phone call later that evening, and he said, "It is evident to me, as the president, the new installed president of Haiti, that there are 2 NGOs working in all of Haiti. It's Food for the Poor and everyone else, because of the impact of the work and because the tried and true efforts that we are placing to support, aid, and assist in lifting up the community, one family, one community at a time."
And some of your donation or listeners' donations will go to help those in the Caribbean and Latin America.
Yeah, well, this campaign we're focusing on Haiti, but Food for the Poor works. We're not a global organization. We actually focus all of our efforts into Central America, the Caribbean, Latin America, and so for this particular campaign, we're focused on Haiti, and I wanted to point that out because it's very intentional. Rather than the old metaphor, rather than be a mile wide and an inch deep, we'd rather focus in 17 countries and really make deep, lasting change in those countries. And so that's the way we've chosen to work. And, Dan, just to go back to your question, which is a legitimate question, like Paul said, hey, we got people hurting here. You're right, we do. But I don't believe, especially in a city like Chicagoland, there's some people that have been just incredibly prosperous and fortunate. I don't think it necessarily has to be an and/or proposition.
Sure, of course.
I think we can do both. If your heart is to help people here at home, help people here at home. But if you have the capacity to help people abroad as well, then we would love to have your tax-deductible gift to, keep Food for the Poor doing what we're doing. And frankly, in a lot of metropolitan areas, there are a lot of people that have roots in Haiti that have come to the U.S. and done very well. And so maybe there's an affinity there that you want to reach back and help the home country of Haiti.
And just a point of order on that too, because people want to, hey, I want my money to go to the intended beneficiary.
Yep.
95%, which is 5-star
amazing.
Charity Navigator off the
Extremely
charts.
efficient.
95% of every dollar that our listeners donate gets to those kids and families in Haiti to provide them food and water.
Yeah. Yeah. Food for the Poor is one of the most efficient charities in operation. And you're right, Charity Navigator, Ministry Watch, Better Business Bureau. So you can Google it and check it out on your own. And we encourage you to do that.
And again, just talk about the magnitude of impact. You're talking about kind of generally, but 30 years, what has that meant for just the number of families, the number of communities in Haiti, Food for the Poor's involved in?
It's pretty staggering. You know, the challenge when you look at poverty as pervasive in a country like Haiti, I mean, if you go there, it just seems like, wow, this is too big. It's not fixable. But if you kind of, if you go from macro to micro and you focus in on communities and you look at the impact within communities, slowly but surely, Food for the Poor, thanks to our donors, is making a lasting impact in Haiti. And really the new point of focus, thanks to our executive director down in Haiti right now, really focusing on the kids. We've amped up our feeding programs in schools. Just made a huge focus on that. We targeted expanding our feeding programs in schools to 200 more schools, ended up being 500 more schools just this year. And what are the benefits of that? Well, number one, the children are the future, right?
Ending the cycle.
Yeah, and so we're trying to end that cycle of poverty. You got to start it with the kids. And so now more than 500 schools, in addition to what we were already doing, now have a Food for the Poor sponsored feeding program. That's resulted in the kids that were going to school being better students, their health is improved, and now we're seeing kids that didn't used to come to school. Their parents are making sure they get to school because they're going to get a meal, and now they're going to get an education. That's how we're ultimately going to change the future of Haiti. So it's a long-term play. It is. It's going to take time, but we just can't give up. And I think one of the great hallmarks, as an American, one of the things that I hope we all can agree on about our country, despite politics and all of our differences and the things we tend to get focused on, still the greatest country on the face of the planet that ever has, or I believe ever will be. And the world is a far better place because of Americans. And so here's your opportunity during the holiday season to, just extend that transformation to the country of Haiti, which, by the way, is not that far away. 90-minute flight from South Florida.
Yeah, that's
next door neighbor.
That's right. $80, food for a year, water for life for a child in Haiti. Our goal, again, for this Christmas campaign, this holiday campaign, 3,000 children in Haiti to make sure that they have food and water, and we can get them on a path to end the cycle of poverty for themselves and their families in that country.
And the number to call, you've got the number.
Yeah, toll-free number. By the way, you can give online. Just go to am570theanswer.com.
AM560.
Yeah, AM560, sorry.
Yeah.
There was another radio station in New York last week that was 570, so pardon my confusion. Hello,
Thank you.
Chicago.
Good night, Detroit.
Thank you, Chicago. AM560theanswer.com. Just click on the Food for the Poor banner or toll-free 844-862-HOPE, which is 4673.
And again, people want more information about Food for the Poor, the organization, what you guys do, what you guys have done. They can go where?
You go to foodforthepoor.org. Check it out there.
Foodforthepoor.org provides that additional
Absolutely.
background information.
Yep.
Okay. Todd, Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Guys.
We're happy to be and honored to be partnering with you in this campaign, and we'll hit our mark. Our listeners will make sure we hit our mark.
You have
We don't
amazing
disappoint.
listeners. I'm a former resident of Chicagoland, so always like coming home. I still have family here. Know the hearts of the Chicagoland folks, so no doubt that we're going to make a huge difference.
And by the way, I live in Parkland, home to A1 Anthony Rizzo.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, that's
first
right,
baseman
yeah.
for the
Yeah.
Chicago Cubs. So let's, for my hometown,
Yeah.
let's give. Let's
It's always
give,
the one degree of separation from
exactly,
Chicago,
right?
Yeah, Rizzo,
No matter
yeah.
where you are.
Yeah, I'm a Sox fan, so that's not encouraging me very much, Paul. But okay, no, that's great. That's great. Paul and Todd, Food for the Poor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.